Good morning, guys. Today is day 216 until I'm a YouTube millionaire, and we're doing a review, or not a review, a reaction to video today. We're reacting to The Sights of Space, A Voyage to Spectacular Alien Worlds by Melodysheep. This one is a couple of years old, and I've seen it a few times, so I pre-watched. But it's really good, and I want you guys to see it as well. So let's get to this. Obviously, what Melodysheep is known for is their melodies, combined with absolutely stunning visuals.
This is the Novice 3, an imaginary ship that can take you anywhere in the Milky Way. Maiden voyage will take you on a tour of the wildest planets we have yet discovered.
Just the production quality of this stuff is incredible, and this is why it takes so long for them to come out with new videos. So, while I wish they would produce them quicker, at the same time, if this is the quality that they're making, you kind of get it.
Of burning ice. Planets hotter than stars, with clouds made of metal. Zombie worlds born from the ashes of dead ones. And hundreds of billions more are waiting for us in our galaxy alone. These worlds will give us...
What you just saw there was a quasar. They have jets of energy, high energy particles being shot out from both of their poles, and they spin around super fast. They actually start off most of the time as magnetars, but they only stay a magnetar for about 10,000 years, until eventually the rotation speed slows down enough to where the magnetic field dissipates enough to no longer be considered a magnetar. But even magnetars are not powerful enough to tear a hole in space.
It's a glimpse into how deep nature's imagination goes, and create a map for future pioneers who might one day plant their flags on landscapes we can hardly imagine.
'Tis a human hand.
I'm gonna get rid of this visceral fat.
Don't you love commercials? That's how to get in shape fast. Melodysheep's gotta make money, so I get it. You figure I put so much time and energy into YouTube that I should get premium.
We set sail for the closest alien.
I think I will in the very near future, maybe next month.
But the long road to our cosmic neighbor is paved with strange sights of its own.
Obviously, that wasn't to scale. If it were, then yeah, you'd have I can't talk right now. Our sun at the center of the solar system, blaring so bright that you wouldn't be able to see anything else until you get to like 2 light years out. And the distances between the planets are so massive that unless you have something indicating where those planets are, you ain't gonna see them. That's why it took so long for us as a civilization to discover Uranus and the other planets. We didn't discover Uranus until I think it was 1742, if I'm not mistaken. Something like that. Really, really, really difficult to see planets.
Past the distant orbit of Neptune, we slip into a no man's land of icy cosmic debris that surrounds our solar system.
Got the Oort cloud and the Kuiper Belt, and the asteroid belt in between Mars and Jupiter. Now, they always have to make it look very obvious that it's the Kuiper Belt by making all the asteroids super close together like this, but in reality they are super far apart. It's just a slightly higher density of materials than other parts of the solar system. Yeah.
Of millions of icy scraps, leftovers from the formation of our solar.
It's not that dense.
Among the scattered bits of rock and ice, there's something strange. How mare.
And that's roughly what it more or less probably looks like, what you're seeing right here. This is a really good rendition of it. It's considered a dwarf planet along with its companions, but not, yeah, so a dwarf planet is big enough to become a spheroid, but not big enough to clear its area, its orbit of other debris. So
A tumbling dwarf planet shaped like an egg, carrying 2 moons and an icy ring. This bizarre, Pluto-sized world is the fastest spinning object in our solar system. Splashed across its surface is a mysterious red spot, possibly a scar from a recent impact.
red indicating iron, perhaps, rust,
Millionaire is not alone.
or nitrogen.
There's a whole eccentric family of mini worlds living.
Yep.
Dwarf planets like Maka and Gong Gong, a red-tinted mini Pluto with thin atmosphere.
You gotta love those names.
The Kuiper Belt could hold as many as 200 dwarf.
Now, the farther out from the sun that you are, the less solar wind you get, and the more likely you are to be able to develop a tenuous atmosphere. That's why these tiny, tiny worlds actually have some type of atmosphere. Normally, it would sputter away.
A final outpost still bound to the
In case you guys didn't already hear me say this before, Melodysheep's by far the best YouTube channel on YouTube. And this is why.
And when we finally outgrow
Quality content.
the one nearest to Earth will be waiting.
Alpha Centauri.
Alpha Centauri. In this triple star system, a tiny red dwarf star known as Proxima Centauri orbits around a pair of sun-like stars, Alpha Centauri A and B. As we approach Proxima, the closest of the stellar trio, we're greeted by 2 huge dust belts that circle the stars. But further in, we come to the real gem of this system.
Planets orbiting it.
To Proxima Centauri B, the closest exoplanet to Earth.
It exists.
With a mass almost identical to Earth's and a density that suggests a rocky composition, this distant Earth cousin orbits right inside its star's habitable zone. Giving it
So maybe the movie Pandora might have some truth to it, because Avatar, because they went to Pandora, which was a moon orbiting around a gas giant in Alpha Centauri.
around another star.
Maybe it's right there.
Visitors could gaze up to see Proxima Centauri and its 2 sister suns.
Yep. Now, Alpha Centauri is really tiny, so the planet's Proxima Centauri. So it'll be more than likely tidally locked to its star. Nevertheless.
There's still a lot we don't know about our cosmic neighbor. And its star is so volatile that
That's right.
stellar flares could shock the planet into a lifeless state. The only way to know for sure is to go there ourselves.
That's right.
Missions are now being proposed that could reach this system in as little as 20 years, using nanoprobes powered by light sails. You wait too long, you could miss the biggest savings in solar.
You gotta love these commercials, don't you? Sorry, guys.
If humans ever touch down on Proxima Centauri, it will become the site of the most transformative event in human history. The moment mankind became an interstellar species.
Like the movie Interstellar with Matthew McConaughey. Oh, right, oh, right, oh, right.
As we push farther into space, we leave the familiar behind and come across a world beyond all human comprehension. Gliese 436b.
This is all real.
About as different from Earth as you can get. Orbiting extremely close to its star, its surface is a scorching 438 degrees Celsius.
Roughly 1,000 Fahrenheit,
On a planet this high,
900-ish.
you might expect to find vast seas of magma. But this Neptune-sized world is something else entirely.
Neptune, by the way, is an ice giant. It has a rocky core.
A world of burning ice.
Yep, depending on the pressures and temperatures.
Compresses water vapor in the atmosphere into an exotic form of ice called ice 7.
You can have ice at a very high temperature. As crazy as that sounds.
The pressures here are so intense that the ice can withstand burning temperatures without evaporating. But the atmosphere is another story. It's being blasted into space by the star's immense heat. And as the starlight pushes
Sputtering.
on the escaping gas, it leaves behind a comet-like tail, 9 million miles long. Most planets in the universe will be hostile to
It looks like it has testicles.
but 39 light years away,
Sorry.
a tiny red dwarf star is home to a potential planetary oasis.
The red dwarf stars are the best target
Is the trap
for us right now because it's easiest to see the planets orbiting them
seven rocky planets huddled
with our
closely
telescopes.
around their sun. These Earth-sized worlds orbit so closely together that the whole system would fit easily inside the orbit of Mercury. The inner two are suspected to be Venus-like, searing hot and covered in dense clouds. And the outer planet, TRAPPIST-1H, is thought to be as cold as the South Pole.
Sounds super cold, but that's actually not that bad relative to other planets and places in this universe. That's actually like
4 of the middle
200
orbit
something
of the
Kelvin?
star's habitable zone, making this system a
220?
possible bonanza for life. TRAPPIST-1E is one of the single most promising candidates for habitability that we know of.
That's a very old planet. 7.6 billion years old. It's 50% older than Earth.
And each of these worlds is far older than Earth.
There you go.
giving potential life forms here a 3 billion year head start.
If they are there. See, absolutely stunning visuals and music.
Each of the planets are theorized to be tidally locked.
That's right, tidally locked.
With one side stuck facing their sun, and the other side permanently exposed to the cold void of space.
It's doable, though.
Such extremes could make it hard for life to find a foothold. But in the right conditions, one of these worlds could hold vast oceans on the sun-facing side, where the star's heat is just enough for liquid water. An eyeball Earth,
It's doable.
appearing like a glistening, watery iris, staring into space.
Kind of like the Eye of God nebula in outer space, except in planet form.
Others could have a habitable strip of land between dark and light.
I actually write about this in my novel series, and the music band Starset
Haven for life between
writes about the same thing in their book Prox.
the TRAPPIST planets are now a prime target of the James Webb Space Telescope.
Brand spanking new telescope.
Goes into their atmospheres in search of biosignatures. If our descendants ever reach this system, they will look up to see the sibling planets decorating the sky, each clinging to the heat of their dim red star, like campers around the fire.
Only imagine, right? Imagine if we develop wormhole technology and can travel there instantaneously.
Further beyond, 64 light years away, lies a world that looks deceptively peaceful. A world where pasty white clouds float above lush, deep shades of blue.
A little younger than Earth.
But as we get closer, this gas giant is anything but friendly.
And commercial. Come on.
The winds here are the fastest known in space. 25 times faster than the strongest recorded hurricanes. And those cool blues you saw from space? They're shards of silicate particles as sharp as glass. And they're being blown
Silicate
sideways
particles,
across the world with you
aka
at
rock.
7 times the speed of sound.
Or glass in different form.
If that wasn't enough to kill you, then the extreme heat would do the trick. The atmosphere here is so hot that it can melt solid gold. And that intense heat is causing it to evaporate at a rate of up to 1.3 billion pounds a second. On this world from hell, even the sky wants to escape.
It sounds like a lot, but considering the mass of the celestial body, it would take billions of years for it to dissipate entirely.
As we journey the dark cosmic highways 400 light years from Earth, out of the darkness comes a truly brilliant sight. This newborn planet might look familiar at first.
16 million years old.
But compared to Saturn, this massive world is the true Lord of the Rings.
Which won't last forever. You know, they'll last a few million years.
200 times larger, nearly 120 million kilometers wide, almost the distance from the Earth to the Sun.
It won't stay that way for long.
If Saturn's rings were this massive, they would be easily visible at night.
And it's only there because the planet is so young. 16 million years sounds like a long time, but it's a drop in the bucket.
That within a gap in the rings, there lies a huge moon, bigger than Mars, where the views would resemble something from an acid trip. Over time, the surrounding rings will condense to form a whole family of rings.
Yep.
Possibly hundreds of them. But for now, they offer a sight unlike any we've ever seen. Evidence that our home solar system has not prepared us for how varied and dazzling other systems can be.
Some cool stuff.
By some estimates, nearly half of all sun-like star systems contain more than one sun, implying billions of worlds that are home to poetic twin sunsets.
Just like that sandy world from Star Wars that Anakin Skywalker came from.
Worlds that orbit not just 2 or 3, but even 4 stars.
It appears that dual star systems are actually much more populous than single star systems.
And you can gaze up at sunsets and sunrises at the same time. This is an actual image of a 3-star system in the Orion Nebula, revealing massive rings of gas and dust whirling around a triplet of newborn stars.
Super young.
And within this twisted swirl of debris, there's evidence of a hidden planet, carving out a gap in the gas and dust, the first planet known to orbit 3 stars at once.
Three-body problem be damned.
And then there are worlds that seem more like stars themselves than planets.
Brown dwarfs.
This huge scorching gas giant is tidally locked to its star, with a day side that reaches a blistering 3,000 degrees Celsius, hotter than the surface of some stars. In the extreme heat, heavy metals are wafted into the atmosphere from the planet's interior. As violent winds blow these metals to the night-facing sun, something incredible happens.
It rains metal.
In this cooler atmosphere, particles of iron, magnesium, and other heavy elements condense into clouds made of metal.
Weird, right?
Huge metallic dust storms could rage from one hemisphere to the other, unleashing a torrential rain of liquid gemstone.
The kid is hurting. There's nothing you can do about it.
Less liquid gemstones, more liquid metal. Kind of like Terminator T-1000, except super hot.
And this isn't the only planet of riches out there. 21 light years from now, this supermassive rocky planet
11 billion years old.
of cosmic bloom. High concentrations of aluminum and calcium pressurize under its extreme atmosphere, possibly forming vast deposits of rubies and sapphires. Scientists believe there could even be planets of pure diamond out there.
Yep.
With its equal ratio of carbon to oxygen, WASP-12b could potentially hold a diamond core.
And keep that in mind. The Earth has a lot of carbon on it, but nowhere near this amount.
Shrouded in dark clouds of methane and carbon monoxide that trap 94% of light.
And as you know, carbon monoxide is lethal.
And its proximity to its star is causing gravity to stretch the planet into the shape of an egg.
It's about to pop. Or crack, whatever.
But this diamond space egg has a death sentence. Its star's intense gravity is pulling it towards a fiery extinction.
Yep.
Giving it only 3 million years to live.
Sounds like a long time, but it ain't. Basically the last hour in the age of the universe, if it were to be on a 12-month calendar.
But for some worlds, death is not the end of the story. When massive stars go supernova,
Splat.
the ensuing blast wipes out any planets in the vicinity.
Not always.
The death of one world can sometimes lead to the birth of another. In the wake of this explosion, certain stars collapse into rapidly spinning cores called pulsars, sucking up huge amounts of stellar debris.
That's what happened with the dwarf planet Ceres in our asteroid belt. It recoalesced from the remnants of what made the asteroid belt, a planet that used to be there.
Until finally, a new world is formed.
So it goes.
A zombie planet, built from the ashes of the dead.
Can't do much with it because it's orbiting a pulsar, but it's there.
Worlds like this are exceedingly rare. But 2,300 light years away, this billion-year-old pulsar is the keeper of not one, but 3 potential zombie planets.
Remember the movie Interstellar, where the planets were orbiting a giant black hole? Mid-sized black hole.
The closest in
This is worse.
Draugr,
Draugr, a
a tiny rocky
word for
smaller than
like a zombie Viking.
likely stripped bare from intense X-ray radiation. Then we come to the first 2 exoplanets ever discovered. A pair of zombie super-Earths known as Poltergeist and Phobitar.
Obviously, you know what
More than triple the mass.
poltergeist is. Phobitar, I don't know what that word means, though. I'll have to look it up.
Soaked in the strobing light of their dead stars.
It's pretty cool, though.
View from these planets would be utterly alien.
Sorry for the strobing. Anybody who's sensitive to this, like seizures and stuff, apologies.
Charged particles from the pulsar star would rain down on the surface, which could light up the night skies with brilliant auroras.
If there's an atmosphere on the planets. And a magnetic field. Two things required in order to have auroras.
Drenched in deadly X-rays with no living star for warmth, it may seem impossible for worlds like this to sustain life.
I mean, it's possible to still...
Planets with extremely thick atmospheres.
That's right.
X-rays could convert into heat, supporting liquid water on the surface.
It's still possible. Like Uranus, for instance, has liquid water at its surface. And its nominal surface, its hydrosphere. So does Neptune, actually. And the nominal surface of Uranus and Neptune are actually reasonable temperatures. Temperatures in which you could survive. This is technically possible. Not likely, but possible. A spinning corpse of an exploded star that will last for a humongous amount of time. Like 10 billion years for our star and main sequence stars, but a pulsar? Those things last way longer.
As we reach the farthest point in our journey, over 2,000 light years from Earth, we have still only scratched the surface of what's out there. 700 quadrillion other worlds are still waiting.
Just in that area. No, I think that's estimated in the whole universe. Something like that.
From the blazing center of the galaxy.
Interstellar.
Worlds circling the rims of supermassive black holes.
Bah. Gosh dang commercials. Come on.
Giant water planets with oceans that reach thousands of kilometers deep.
Uranus and Neptune.
To visit these far-off lands is a dream only our descendants can realize.
I disagree. If we discover wormholes in time travel,
If they ever
we can do it in our generation.
soil and feel the heat of new suns, they will remember us as the first generation to know these worlds. To study their formation and their nature, and to dream of one day calling some of them home.
Maybe we're in the era of defeating death, and we will actually see our descendants that end up doing this along with us. But that's another discussion. So there you go, guys. As always, Melodysheep never disappoints. So let me know what you think, guys. I love this video. There isn't a single video on this channel that I don't like. So, alright. Love y'all.